collaboration between Nicholas and I has grown, of course, over the years, and we've gotten to know each other very well through different repertoire. There is two sides of the collaboration that I think to me are very important. One is that we understand each other basically without words, but the other is that we are able to speak about many things. So those two put together, they enable us to be free together on stage and in front of the microphone, and that I find very important.
With Beethoven's music as a whole, there is no real break. There is this classic sort of separation into early, middle and late period Beethoven, which of course becomes very blurry around the edges as soon as one starts to think closely about individual pieces. And the cello sonatas, the 5 cello sonatas, however, happen to be written in 3 batches, as it were, so that there are 2 Opus 5 sonatas, which he wrote when he was still a young man, which definitely fit into this early period classification. The middle sonata, the A major sonata, which would fit into this middle period classification, and then the 2 later sonatas, which stand sort of at the gateway to the very sort of late period of Beethoven.
Well, I aim to find a sound, an idea of the music that enables me to let the composer speak through me. I don't subscribe necessarily to the idea that there is a correct way, so to speak, to play something. But at the end of the day, I think whatever we read on that piece of paper, it has to come filtered through our own personalities. And that's what makes music interesting. That's what makes it come alive.
Beethoven was, as a musician who was constantly innovating and developing and himself and evolving himself. He was never content to repeat himself.
With Beethoven, even though the music is as perfect, I would say, as far as perfection can be attained, but there is that incredibly human element throughout every note that he writes.
It's very nice to be aware of the way Beethoven began to use the metronome in the last years of his life, and to think about this question of, does he intend tempi to be very much on the border of what's comfortable? And I think this is often true. I mean, I don't think any of his cello sonatas are comfortable. There's nothing comfortable about anything in these pieces.
You feel that I would say masculinity in the music, that energy that he brings to the table there, and there's absolutely no compromises. He was never a compromising composer at any stage of his life, but I would say that he really takes it one step further in that last sonata. Everything is so clear, so almost as if chiseled from marble.
What makes these last sonatas really extraordinary is that they are incredibly short, and yet they feel like there's a whole universe in each one. So it really is that even in a phrase which may be only a bar and a half, it's so full of nuance and so full of gestures and so full of things. It's really incredible. And then he caps off the whole cycle with this fugue at the end of the D major sonata, which is well known for being one of the most extreme things that he ever wrote in some ways.
That I felt very privileged to be able to immerse myself in that music and to work on all the details and discuss them with Nicholas and rehearse and try things and experiment. And through all of this, get closer to Beethoven as a human, I would say, and also to what he may have intended with these pieces.